They said my son died naturally. At my age, I had time to read everything twice.
They told me my son died naturally. Those were the words the doctor used. Natural causes. At my age, people expect you to accept words like that without question. They assume grief makes you tired. They assume time has made you careless. They were wrong. I was sitting at the small kitchen table when they handed me the paper. The death certificate. White, clean, final. The doctor spoke gently as if his tone could soften the meaning. It was peaceful, he said. He didn't suffer. I nodded. That is what people do when they are expected to agree. Later that evening, after everyone had gone, I unfolded the paper again. I read it slowly. Old women read differently. We don't skim. We don't rush. We look for what doesn't belong. Time of death, 3:40 a.m. Cause, cardiac arrest. Attending physician, Dr. Keller. I stopped there because Dr. Keller did not work nights. I knew that for a fact. My son had been sick, yes, but he had patterns. He called me every night at exactly 9:15, even when he was tired. Even when he was in pain. The night before he died, the phone never rang. That should have been the first sign. I folded the paper carefully and placed it on the table. Then I did something people found strange later. I didn't cry, not because I didn't love him, but because something inside me had gone quiet. Quiet is dangerous. Quiet is when questions begin to line up. At the funeral, people spoke in low voices. He was young. Such a shame. At least it was quick. Nothing about my son was ever quick. His wife stood beside the coffin, composed and dry-eyed. She held her hands together tightly, as if afraid they might shake. She did not look at me when the prayers ended. That mattered. After the service, she approached me. They said it was his heart, she said quickly. Almost too quickly, I nodded again. People who are telling the truth don't hurry explanations. That night, I returned home alone. I opened my son's old desk drawer, the one no one had touched since he moved out years ago. Inside were small things, receipts, notes, a calendar. I turned to the last week of his life. 3 appointments were crossed out. One was not. Monday, 2:00 a.m. nurse visit. That made no sense. No nurse was scheduled for that hour. I sat back in the chair and listened to the house breathe. Walls remember things people forget. And suddenly, the death certificate felt less like an answer and more like a beginning. I picked up the phone, then I put it down. Old women don't ask questions loudly. We write them down. That night, I opened a notebook. On the first page, I wrote one sentence. They said it was natural. And underneath it, I left space. Because I already knew this story would not fit on one page. The next morning, people began telling me what I was supposed to feel. You need rest. You shouldn't overthink. At your age, stress is dangerous. They said it kindly. That made it worse. Kindness is often used to close doors. I nodded to every sentence, agreed with every concern, let them believe I was fragile. Old women learn early that being underestimated is a kind of freedom. My son's wife stayed close those days. too close. She organized meals, answered calls, spoke to doctors before I could. She kept saying, "I'll handle it," as if repeating it would make it true. When I asked about the night he died, she avoided details. "He was sleeping," she said. "It happened fast. Fast again." Everything about that night was fast in her version. I noticed she never mentioned names. No nurse, no doctor, just they. People hide behind they when they don't want to be specific. At the hospital, I asked for his file. The nurse at the desk hesitated before answering. "Not long, just enough." "I'm not sure you should be looking at that," she said carefully. "It won't change anything." I smiled. "I'm his mother," I replied. "Looking is all I have left." She handed me a thin folder, too thin. My son had been sick for months. Thin folders belonged to short stories I flipped through slowly. Vitals, dates, signatures. Then I saw it again. The time, 3:40 a.m. The same time as the certificate. Too neat. Real life is rarely neat. I asked about the nurse visit. The nurse frowned. "There was no scheduled visit at that hour," she said. "Not on our records." Records, another careful word. I thanked her and left. Outside, the air felt heavier. Not with grief, with resistance. Someone had decided what story would be told, and they were very sure no one my age would challenge it. At home, I sat with my notebook again. I added another line. "Everyone wants me to forget." Then another. "They are very confident." Confidence like that comes from practice. That afternoon, my son's wife called. "I heard you went to the hospital," she said. Her voice was calm, but the words arrived too quickly. "I was curious," I replied. "You shouldn't be," she said gently. "It's all been taken care of." Taken care of, people say that when they mean finished. I asked her one last thing. Who was with him when he died? There was a pause, short, sharp. "I don't know," she said. "They didn't say." They again. After the call ended, I didn't move for a long time. I looked at the calendar I'd taken from my son's drawer. At the appointment written in his careful handwriting, Monday, 2:00 a.m. nurse visit. He had never written unnecessary things down. Never. That was when I understood something important. If everyone was telling me to let it go, then whatever it was had not gone anywhere. It was still there, waiting. And so was I. My son had many habits in his life. Most of them were small, predictable, almost boring. That was how he liked things. Chaos made him nervous. Order made him feel safe. That is why his last habit mattered. After the funeral, when the house finally grew quiet, I returned to his room, not the one he shared with his wife. The small room at the back of the house where he used to stay when he visited me alone. It still smelled like him. Soap, paper, something faintly metallic like old coins. I sat on the edge of the bed and listened. Old houses speak when you stop rushing them. In the drawer beside the bed, I found his notebook. Not the calendar, not the receipts, a different one, black cover, no label. He used it only in the last months of his life. Inside, the writing was careful, slower than before, as if his hand had learned to hesitate. He had written dates, times, and short observations, not thoughts, not feelings, facts. Medication delayed. Nurse unfamiliar. Dose questioned. I read each line twice. This was not a diary. This was a record. My son had never kept records of people before. That was his last habit. When something frightened him, he stopped trusting memory. He wrote. On the third page, I saw a pattern. The same initials appeared again and again. MK always near the word night. Always after midnight. I closed the notebook and sat very still. People think danger announces itself loudly. It doesn't, it repeats. I remembered his voice on the phone weeks before his death. You ever notice, he had said casually, how people act different when they think you're asleep? I had laughed then. Now I didn't. I went through his personal items more carefully. His phone was gone, his watch too, small things, but my son never misplaced small things. He was the kind of man who returned pens to their place. I wrote another sentence in my notebook. Someone cleaned up. That afternoon, I went for a walk, not far. Just far enough to think. I passed the pharmacy my son used. I went inside. The pharmacist recognized me immediately. I'm sorry for your loss, she said softly. I thanked her. Then I asked something simple. My son's prescription, I said. The last one. She hesitated. Again, not long. Just enough. It was changed, she said, near the end. By whom? I asked. She looked at the screen. By a nurse, she replied. MK, the initials landed like a weight. What kind of change? I asked. She leaned closer and lowered her voice. The dosage, she said. It was unusual. Unusual is what people say when something feels wrong, but no one has named it yet. I thanked her and left. Outside, the light felt too bright. I stood there for a long moment, holding my coat closed, feeling my age in my knees. 87 years old. People my age are expected to forget names, not collect them. I returned home and opened my son's notebook again. On the last page, there was a single sentence. Written shakily, don't let them rush you. I closed the book. They had rushed him. Now they were rushing me. That was the mistake. I added one more line to my notebook. My son noticed first. And for the first time since his death, I felt something settle inside me. Not anger, direction. I did not look for the nurse right away. People expect urgency from grief. They think questions must arrive quickly, loudly, and with tears. I let time pass. Time loosens people. It makes them forget which version of the story they agreed to keep. A week later, I returned to the hospital, not to the ward, to the small cafeteria near the back entrance. Hospitals have places where people speak more freely. That cafeteria was one of them. I ordered tea I did not want and sat where I could see the doors. I waited. Old women are very good at waiting. She arrived just after noon. I recognized her immediately, even though I had never seen her face before. Because she walked like someone who was careful not to be noticed. Her uniform was clean, too clean. She stood in line, checked her phone, glanced around once. Not nervous, alert. I stood slowly and walked past her table as if by accident. MK. I said quietly, not stopping. She froze, just for a moment. That was enough. I continued walking, sat at the table behind her, and waited again. People who are innocent don't freeze at their own name. After a few minutes, she stood and approached me. "You shouldn't use names like that," she said softly. Her voice was calm, too calm. "I use names when I remember them," I replied. She looked at my face more closely now. My age confused her. It always does. "You're his mother," she said, not a question. "Yes." She hesitated, then sat across from me. "I'm sorry for your loss," she said carefully again. "I don't want trouble," she added. "Trouble is what people mention when they already feel close to it." "I don't want explanations," I said. "I want to understand." That made her uncomfortable. Understanding requires detail. Detail leaves marks. She folded her hands together. "They changed the schedule," she said finally. "At the end." "Who did?" I asked. She shook her head. "They said it was temporary." They again. Always they. "Your son asked questions," she continued. "More than most patients." I smiled faintly. "He always did." She looked at the table. "He didn't like the night visits," she said. "He said the doses felt different." Different. The word kept returning. "Did you change them?" I asked. Her eyes lifted sharply. "No," she said, "not officially." Officially is another careful word. "What about unofficially?" I asked. She swallowed. "I was told to follow instructions," she said. "That's all." "Told by whom?" She did not answer. Silence sat between us. The silence has weight when someone is deciding how much to say. Finally, she leaned closer. "Please," she whispered, "you don't understand what you're opening." I looked at her, really looked, at the tight shoulders, the steady breathing. The hands pressed flat on the table. She was not protecting herself. She was protecting someone else. "I understand this," I said. "My son is dead." That ended the conversation. She stood abruptly. "I never touched the final dose," she said quickly. "Whatever happened after midnight wasn't me." After midnight, another time, another door, she walked away without looking back. People don't look back when they're afraid of being seen remembering. I finished my tea. It was cold. On the way home, I wrote another name in my notebook. Not hers, the one she had refused to say. And beneath it, I wrote a question. Who benefits from silence? Because by then, I knew one thing for certain. My son had not died alone. Someone had been watching the clock, and someone else had been counting on me to stop asking. They were wrong. The prescription did not disappear loudly. There was no argument, no accusation. No dramatic moment where someone admitted a mistake. It simply stopped existing. That was how I knew it mattered. 2 days after my conversation with the nurse, I returned to the pharmacy. The same one my son had trusted for years. The same counter, the same shelves. Familiar places make people careless. I waited until the pharmacist recognized me again. Recognition softens rules. "I was thinking about my son," I said gently. "The last medication he was given." She nodded and pulled up his file. Her finger paused on the screen, then she frowned. "That's strange," she said. I said nothing. People explain more when they aren't interrupted. "There should be a record here," she continued. There was before, another careful word. "What kind of record?" I asked. "A nighttime prescription," she said slowly. "A temporary adjustment." Temporary things leave permanent traces. Unless someone removes them, she clicked again, then leaned closer to the screen. "It's not here anymore," she said. "It was overridden." Overridden, not deleted. Someone had authority. "By whom?" I asked. She hesitated longer this time. "Hospital administration," she said. But that's unusual. Unusual had become familiar. I thanked her and stepped outside. The air felt thinner than before, not cold, sharp. I sat on the bench across the street and opened my notebook. I wrote, "The prescription existed, now it doesn't." That was proof, not of guilt. Of effort. People don't erase things that don't matter. I remembered my son's words again. Don't let them rush you. Rushing leaves fingerprints. Erasing leaves intention. That afternoon, I called the hospital records office. I asked for copies of everything, not emotionally, not urgently, politely. They told me it would take time. Time again, I smiled. "I have plenty," I said. They didn't laugh. That was good. The files arrived 3 days later. Thick, heavy, incomplete. I laid them out on my table and compared dates. Vitals matched, notes matched, but the medication log jumped. One night was missing entirely. No dose recorded. No refusal noted. No reason given, just absence. Absence is louder than mistakes. I traced the date with my finger. Monday, the same Monday written in my son's notebook. 2:00 a.m. I sat back in my chair. Someone had administered something. Someone had removed the record. And someone had signed the death certificate. Those three things do not happen separately. They happen in sequence. That evening, my son's wife called. Her voice was lighter than it had been in days. "They've settled everything," she said. The hospital reviewed the case. Reviewed, another finished word. "There's nothing more to worry about." I listened. "You sound tired," she added. "You should stop pushing yourself." There it was, the rush. "I'm not worried," I replied. "I'm curious." Silence. Then she laughed softly. "You always were," she said. Her laugh arrived too late. People laugh early when they're comfortable. Late laughter hides fear. After the call, I returned to the files. On the last page of the medication log, a signature appeared. Not a name, initials, M.K. the nurse. But the handwriting didn't match the others. Someone had copied it, badly. I closed the folder and placed my notebook on top. Then I wrote one final line for the night. They are editing the past. People who believe they control the story forget that stories are built on sequence. And sequence, once broken, is very hard to repair. I turned off the light and went to bed, not because I was tired, because the truth had finally begun to take shape. And tomorrow, I would start asking questions that could not be erased. The name did not appear where I expected it to. It wasn't on the death certificate, not in the nurse's notes, not even in the pharmacy records. It appeared in emails. Old systems remember what people forget to delete. The hospital records office had sent me a digital copy along with the paper files. They assumed I wouldn't know what to do with it. They were wrong. My son had taught me how to search. I sat at his old desk and opened the files slowly, one by one. Most were routine, automatic messages, standard approvals. Then I saw the pattern, every unusual change. Every adjustment after midnight, every temporary decision, approved by the same person, not a doctor, not a nurse, an administrator. Her name was Elaine Mercer, Director of Patient Care Coordination, a title designed to sound helpful. Her signature appeared only when rules were bent, only when exceptions were made, only when questions stopped being asked. She did not treat patients. She managed them. I wrote her name in my notebook and underlined it once. Old women underline only when they are certain. I asked around carefully, not at the hospital. In places where people talk without thinking they are being recorded. A former orderly at the pharmacy. A retired nurse I knew from church. A neighbor whose sister once worked nights. Elaine Mercer did not like complications. She liked efficiency, predictability, silence. She specialized in cases where families were told not to interfere, especially when those families were old. She smooths things over, someone said, prevents complaints, prevents questions. That afternoon, I remembered something my son had said months before he died. "They don't talk to me anymore," he had said. "They talk around me." I hadn't understood then. Now I did. I returned to the emails. There was one sent 3 weeks before his death, short, direct. Patient becoming difficult. Recommend expedited management. Difficult, a dangerous word in medical language. It means someone noticed. I closed the laptop and sat very still. People think old women are slow because we move carefully. In truth, we move carefully because we know when to stop. Elaine Mercer did not know me. That was her weakness. I requested a meeting, not as an accusation, not as a complaint, as a mother asking for clarity. She responded within the hour. That told me everything. Her office was clean, too clean, no photographs, no personal items. She offered me water, did not drink any herself. "I'm sorry for your loss," she said smoothly. "We did everything we could." I nodded. "My son didn't think so," I replied. That was the first crack. Her smile tightened. "He was confused near the end," she said. "That's very common." "Confusion leaves records," I said. "Silence leaves gaps." She watched me carefully now. Not as an old woman, as a variable. "There was no misconduct," she said. "I didn't say there was," I replied. "People deny what they expect to be accused of." She folded her hands. "You should let this rest," she said, "for your own health." There it was again. Concern used as a boundary. "I will," I said. "When I understand what happened at 2:00 a.m., her eyes flicked down, just for a second. Time never lies. The meeting ended politely, too politely. Outside, I felt the weight of my age again, not as weakness, as leverage. Because Elaine Mercer believed what everyone else did, that I would go home and forget, I wrote one more sentence in my notebook that evening. She noticed me. That meant the investigation had crossed an invisible line, from records to people, from paper to intent. And once intent is involved, someone always makes a mistake. I noticed the change the next morning. Not because something happened, because something didn't. My phone did not ring. For weeks, I had received polite calls, hospital follow-ups, administrative check-ins, concern disguised as procedure. That morning, there was nothing. Silence like that is intentional. People stop calling when they believe they've been noticed. I went about my day as usual. I watered the plants. I washed the cup I used for tea. I watched the street from the window. Old women don't need mirrors. We read reflections in behavior. A car sat across the street longer than necessary. Not parked badly. Not obviously watching, just present. When I stepped outside, it left. That confirmed it. They had moved from paperwork to people. I smiled. Not because I felt safe, but because I felt accurate. That afternoon, I received an email from the hospital. Short, formal. They thanked me for my cooperation and assured me the matter was considered closed. Closed is what people say when they want you to stop opening things. I did not reply. Replies invite dialogue. Silence forces assumption. The next day, a social worker came to my house. She was young, too young to hide discomfort. She looked around carefully, noting the books, the furniture, the photographs. "I'm just here to check on you," she said. "Check on me." People only check on you when someone else asks them to. I answered her questions politely. Yes, I eat well. Yes, I sleep. Yes, I manage my affairs. She hesitated before asking the last question. "Do you ever feel confused?" she asked. I laughed softly. "Only when people lie badly," I replied. She did not write that down. She left less confident than when she arrived. That mattered. Because attempts to discredit someone always come before attempts to silence them. I returned to my notebook. I added a new section. Changes. I listed everything that had shifted since I spoke to Elaine Mercer. The calls, the visit, the parked car, the sudden concern. Patterns again. That night I dreamed of my son, not as he was at the end, but as a child. He was sitting at the table, watching me write. "You're being careful," he said. I woke with my hand clenched. They thought I had forgotten. That was their second mistake. The first was assuming my age made me slow. The second was believing memory fades quietly. Memory fades when it isn't challenged. Mine had been sharpened. 2 days later, I received a letter, not from the hospital, from a legal office. They suggested I consider appointing a representative to handle future inquiries. In simpler words, they wanted someone else to speak for me. I folded the letter carefully and placed it in my drawer. People who rush to take your voice are afraid of what you might say next. That evening, I called one person, not a lawyer, not a journalist, an old friend of my son's. He had worked in compliance. Still did as far as I knew. I did not accuse. I did not explain. I asked one question. If a hospital wanted something to disappear, I said, where would they fail? He paused. Then he answered. In the timing, he said. People forget to align stories. I wrote that down. They were watching me now. That meant the investigation had reached its most dangerous stage. Not because I was wrong, but because I was close. The calendar was ordinary. That was what made it dangerous. It hung on the wall above my son's old desk, untouched since the day he last stayed with me. A cheap paper calendar, nothing official, nothing important. People underestimate ordinary things. I took it down and laid it flat on the table. Monday, the night my son died. According to the hospital records, nothing unusual happened. No nurse visit, no medication change, no incident. According to my son's handwriting, someone was expected at 2:00 a.m. Those two things could not both be true. I circled the date slowly. Then I did something very simple. I checked the calendar year. The hospital had recorded the date as a Monday. It was. That Monday did not exist. That date fell on a Sunday. Hospitals don't confuse days. People do. I felt my hands grow very still. Someone had copied the date without checking the calendar. Someone had assumed no one would. That was the lie, not the medication, not the nurse. The time is harder to control than people. I returned to the hospital files. Every document repeated the same mistake. Same date, same weekday. A copied error spreads quickly, truth does not. I called my son's friend again. I found a day that doesn't exist, I said. He did not ask what I meant. That's good, he replied. That means someone wrote the story first and checked reality later. The next step required patience. I waited. 2 days passed, then 3. On the 4th day, Elaine Mercer called. She had never called me directly before. That mattered. We need to clarify something, she said. Clarify again. They always want clarity when their version begins to slip. You recorded the wrong day, I said calmly. There was a pause, longer than usual. No, she replied, our records are correct. Then your calendar is wrong, I said, and so is mine. Silence, not confusion, calculation. I think this conversation is upsetting you, she said carefully. We should involve someone to help manage. No, I interrupted. You should check the date. She did not answer. When people stop answering, they are checking something. The call ended politely, too politely. That night, I wrote one sentence in my notebook. They are rereading. The next morning, an amended record appeared in the hospital portal. Small, subtle, the time was changed. The day was not. They fixed the wrong thing. That was the proof. People who are innocent correct errors fully. People who are hiding something correct only what was noticed. I closed the laptop and sat quietly. The lie had broken, not loudly, cleanly. There was no need to push further. When a structure begins to crack at the foundation, pressure is unnecessary. It will fall on its own. I went to the window and watched the street. The car did not return. They were busy now, aligning stories, rewriting memory. That is when mistakes multiply. I picked up my notebook and turned to a clean page. I wrote the title carefully. What actually happened? And beneath it, I wrote the first truth I was certain of. My son knew. Everything else would follow. They did not come to confess. That is not how people do it. They came to explain. Explanations arrive when proof has become inconvenient. Elaine Mercer did not call this time. She emailed, formal tone, careful wording. She suggested a review meeting. Not to revisit the past, to ensure clarity moving forward. Forward is where people point when they want you to stop looking back. I agreed. Agreement unsettles those who expect resistance. The meeting was held in a smaller room than before. No glass walls, no observers. 2 people joined her, a legal representative and a physician I had never met. That mattered. New faces appear when old stories fail. They spoke first. They always do. They talked about stress, about complicated cases, about how illness affects perception. They used phrases like misinterpretation and unintentional inconsistency. I listened. Old women listen until people say more than they planned. Then the physician leaned forward. There was no intent to cause harm, he said. Intent. No one had mentioned intent before. That was the mistake. I didn't ask about intent, I replied. I asked about sequence. They exchanged a look. People look at each other when they're deciding who should speak next. Elaine took over. There were administrative overlaps, she said. Night protocols are complex. Not complex enough to change the calendar, I said. Silence. This time it did not move. They waited for me to continue. I did not. Silence works best when others are nervous. Finally, Elaine spoke again. Your son was difficult near the end, she said. He refused adjustments that were necessary. Refused. Another word added to the story. He was afraid, I said. She nodded too quickly. That's common, she replied. Fear does not explain altered records. But he trusted me, I continued. And he wrote things down. That was when the lawyer shifted in his chair. Paper always frightens people who live on procedure. Elaine's voice softened. You don't want to pursue this, she said. It won't bring him back. People say that when they want to avoid what will come next. I know, I replied. I want it to stop with me. That confused them. Stop what? I leaned forward. You rushed him, I said quietly. And then you rushed the story. The physician cleared his throat. We followed protocol. Then why did you change it? I asked. No one answered. Because there is no protocol for rewriting time. Elaine finally spoke. There were pressures, she said. Expectations. Expectations always belong to someone else. From whom? I asked. She did not answer. She did not need to. At that moment, I understood something important. They were not protecting a mistake. They were protecting a decision. That changed everything. I stood slowly. I will not be difficult, I said. I will be accurate. Accuracy is the word people fear most. They offered me water again. I declined. I did not need comfort. I needed confirmation, and I had it. When I left the room, no one followed me. They were already discussing what to do next. That was enough. That evening, I returned home and sat with my notebook. I wrote a final sentence on the page titled "What Actually Happened." They chose efficiency over patience. That is not murder, it is worse. Because it happens quietly, and it happens again. I did not share what I knew, not yet. Truth has a way of traveling farther when it thinks it's alone. I went back to my routine, the market, the short walks, the quiet afternoons by the window. Let them believe I had accepted their explanation. People relax when they think the danger has passed. 3 days later, the nurse called. MK, her voice was different this time, not careful, tired. I need to talk to you, she said. Not at the hospital. We met in a small cafe near the river, not the kind of place where people take notes, not the kind of place where meetings feel official. She arrived late, that mattered. I wasn't supposed to call you, she said immediately. But they're changing things again. What things? I asked. The records, she said. The language, the approvals. She looked around before continuing. They told us to stop using the word adjustment, she whispered. They want patient-directed care instead. Words are rearranged when responsibility needs a new home. You didn't administer the final dose, I said. She nodded quickly. No, and neither did the night nurse. Then who did? I asked. She hesitated. Someone with access, she said. Someone who wasn't supposed to be there. That was the first real confession, not of guilt. Of structure. Elaine Mercer approved it, she added. Not directly, but through a workaround. Workaround, a word that lives between legality and intent. They told us it was urgent, she continued. That delaying care would be irresponsible. In questioning it, I asked. She looked down. Was discouraged. Discouraged is how systems teach obedience. I thought he was stable, she said. He was talking, asking questions, the same thing that had labeled him difficult. They moved fast, she said, too fast. I closed my eyes for a moment, not in grief, in recognition. This was not about one night. This was about a pattern that had finally met resistance. Why are you telling me this now? I asked. She swallowed. Because they're preparing a final version, she said. One that leaves no room. Room for whom? For you, she answered. They wanted the story finished. Clean, permanent. I don't want this to happen again, she said quietly. Neither did I that night. I did not write in my notebook. I made copies. Every email, every record, every discrepancy. I labeled them carefully. Dates matter when truth is tired. I sent one message. Not to the hospital, not to the authorities, to someone who understood patterns. Someone who had asked me to call if anything ever felt wrong. The message was short. They rushed him. They rushed the story. I can prove it. The reply came an hour later. I'll come tomorrow. I slept well that night, not because I was calm, but because the truth had stopped being lonely. He arrived early the next morning, not with a briefcase, not with questions, with silence. People who understand patterns don't rush introductions. We sat at the kitchen table where I had read the death certificate for the first time. I placed the folders between us. He did not open them immediately. Tell me what you felt first, he said. Not what I knew, what I felt. That they were in a hurry, I replied, and that they wanted me tired. He nodded. That's how these stories start, he said. He reviewed the documents carefully, not line by line, side by side. Alignment matters more than content. This isn't negligence, he said finally. It's management. Management kills without touching. That afternoon, the hospital called again. This time, they did not ask how I was. They asked when I planned to stop. We're concerned about your well-being, Elaine Mercer said. There are limits. Limits are mentioned only when someone feels close to losing control. I agree, I replied. There should be limits. She paused. We're prepared to offer a settlement, she said. There it was. Money arrives when truth becomes expensive. I'm not interested, I said. You should reconsider, she replied quickly. For your sake. Threats arrive when persuasion fails. My son's sake is finished, I said. Mine is not. That evening, something changed. A second social worker arrived with a clipboard, and concern sharpened into formality. They asked about my memory, my routines, whether I felt overwhelmed. They wanted to relocate me. Quietly, that was the move. If I was no longer present, the story could close itself. I smiled and answered every question correctly, too correctly. People get nervous when old women perform well. After they left, my friend stood by the door. They're escalating, he said, which means they're afraid. Fear makes people clumsy. That night, I received an email marked urgent, an amended report, final version. They had corrected the calendar, too late. Fixes after confrontation are confessions. I printed it and placed it on top of the originals. Sequence matters. Around midnight, my phone rang. A number I did not recognize. I let it ring, then it rang again. When I answered, no one spoke, breathing on the other end, waiting to be noticed. I'm still here, I said. The call ended. I slept fully dressed that night, not from fear, from readiness. They wanted to settle it. So did I. But not the same way. The morning arrived quietly. No calls, no emails, no visitors. That was how I knew it was over. When people stop trying to manage you, it means the management has moved elsewhere. My friend left early. He took copies of everything with him. Not to publish, not to accuse, to file. Filing is where stories lose their ability to disappear. I made tea and sat by the window. The street looked the same as it always had. Children walking to school. A delivery truck stopping too long at the corner. Life does not pause for truth, it absorbs it. Later that afternoon, the hospital released a statement, not public, internal, policy adjustments, procedural review, leadership changes. Elaine Mercer's name was not mentioned. Names rarely are, but titles shift quietly. People are reassigned. Responsibilities redistributed. That is how systems apologize. I did not expect justice. Justice is loud and hungry. I expected containment. And containment is what happened. The nurse sent one final message. They told us the new protocols start immediately, she wrote. No more overnight adjustments without review. I closed my eyes. That was enough. My son would not come back, but someone else's mother might not have to sit at this table. That matters. In the evening, I returned to the drawer where I kept my notebook. I did not add another page. I closed it. Stories end when questions stop multiplying. I went to the cemetery the next day, not to speak, not to cry, just to stand. I noticed, I said quietly, that's all. The wind moved through the trees. No answer came, none was needed. At home, I threw away the calendar, not because it was wrong, because it had done its work. People believe old women chase closure. We don't. We recognize it when it arrives. I slept that night without leaving the light on. The story had stopped moving. And when a story stops moving, it means it can no longer hurt anyone. Oh, that is not revenge. That is prevention, and it is enough. End.